Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go through the agenda for the week of January 5th. Our objective with these series of lessons that we're going to be working on is to be able to simplify expressions using properties of exponents. And so this is going to be a very quick refresher of exponent properties that we've already reviewed and covered, not only in first semester but in pre-algebra, but they will be helpful to us going forward as we start to go into our polynomial unit that will be upcoming. So if we look at this, we are right here. We are watching this first, the objectives and the agenda for the week of January 5th. Okay. What you will see then is that next that you will be looking at videos and completing some notes. Okay. Looking at this, it says you may need your Algebra 1 notebook. I held off on using the notebook material this week just in case some people have not had the opportunity to go to the bookstore and pick up their Algebra 1 notebook. We will begin with the material inside the Algebra 1 notebook next week. So if you have not done so yet, you want to read the announcement in our course, and the announcement in our course will give you the information that you need as far as bookstore hours, what door to enter, and how to obtain those materials. Since we aren't using our notebook today, what you will notice is that I have embedded in a PDF that you can print out that has the practice problems on it. Now that could be your choice. You can print out the problems, but these are problems that can be very easily written down just on a blank sheet of paper. So that can totally be your call. You'll notice that for each one of these, I just called them exponent 1, exponent 2, that they go together. So these two things go together. The paper that you see, the problems you see in exponent 1 will be the problems that will be covered in that video. In the video, it's 8 minutes long. I do try to pause and let you write down the problems if you need to. And I do try to keep most of my videos right around that 10 to 12 minute mark so that you can budget your time if you need to take a break in between whatever you need to do. If we look at it then, we can see that the next set is right here, exponent 2. There's the practice problems. There's the video that goes together. Our third one, with the video, that one's a little bit longer. It gets into negative exponents and the property of 0. And then our last video, exponent 4, those are the practice problems, and that is the video, is kind of just a very quick summary. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is take some time and go through and watch the videos and actually practice these problems. One of the things that students said that was a mistake going in after last semester was that they really just watched the videos. They didn't practice the problems as they went through, and so sometimes you can find that watching the video is easy, but then when you go do the problem on your own, you struggle a little bit. So I do suggest that you actually try to attempt the problems on your own as you're going through these videos. Okay, after you have the videos done, there are formative assessments. Formative assessments are what I would consider, if we were in class, what our in-class practice would be or what your homework would be. This is something that, you'd be able to make a mistake on, and then I'd give you some direction, or maybe you'd get some feedback from another student and you'd be able to make a correction and then try it again. And that's why these formative assessments have multiple attempts on them. This is where you're actually going through and you're taking what you learned in the video and you're trying it out on your own, and seeing what you know and what you don't know. Okay, these are things that as you go through, if you are missing problems, you want to write down the problem and then bring that problem to the Zoom session. Now, what you've got to be careful about is you can't just tell me, I need help with problem 6, because the way these Canvas quizzes work in this are that my problem 6 and your problem 6 and someone else's problem 6 may be different. And so that's why I need you to write the problem down so that I know that I'm answering the correct question that you're struggling with. Okay? Please note that this work signed weekly is going to be due on Monday, January 11th, and those are all have a time set of 9 a.m. So you have the entire week, and if you so choose, the weekend, to be able to complete these formative assessments. Once again, having multiple attempts, so that my goal here is that you learn as much as you need to learn. You get the best score that you possibly can. Hopefully a 50 out of 50 out of all of these, because you're allowed to ask questions, you're allowed to go back and change. And so if you are really wanting to persevere to get the best score and get the best knowledge that you can, this is your area to do it. You will also every week have a weekly review, and these weekly reviews will be on things that are coming from previous classes, basically from either pre-algebra or from first semester of algebra, that we hopefully have mastered, but we're going to need them during second semester, so we want to keep them current in our mind. And so your goal is to watch the video and to complete the assignment. And so you can see that, just call it our week 1 here, since January 5th is our first week. And then you have a Canvas quiz. Once again, look at that due date. It's the following Monday, and on your calendar it will show up at 9 a.m. that it is due. Okay. These are also things that after you watch the video that you can go back, and if you need to, you can write down the questions that you have and come to the Zoom session ready to ask some questions regarding the weekly review. Okay, so if you look at the Zoom sessions, this is what we have scheduled for this week. Notice that there's not one today because I wanted you to spend time starting to watch the videos and work through the problems. So we will have Zoom sessions this week. Will be at noon on Wednesday and noon on Thursday and noon on Friday. This was the time frame that I used last semester. It seemed to work very well. We'll have to see when all of the schedules are published if we need to adjust that time or not. But right now, for this week, for the setup, we're going to go with Zoom sessions at noon. Remember that when you come to the Zoom session, please come prepared to ask a question, a specific question, just like you would in class. If you come and you say, I don't understand, my first question is going to be, have you watched the videos? Okay, and if you say no, I'm going to say, please watch the videos and attend the next Zoom session. If you have watched the videos and you don't understand, I'm going to ask you, where did you start to get confused? So that's why when you're watching the videos, it's important for you to write down what questions you don't understand and make sure that you're bringing those to the Zoom session. That'll be the most beneficial use of your time and my time if we can get answered exactly what you have a question about. The last thing is our summative assessment. So this is after you've gone through and you've done the videos, you've taken the notes, you've tried the formative assessments, you've come to Zoom sessions and got all your questions answered, you've worked through the weekly review, you've got all those questions answered, You're now ready to take your summative assessment. This is your test. And so we're going to try to run this as taking one test every week so that we have a very clear beginning and ending to our learning. Notice that this summative assessment here is once again due January 11th, that the time that it'll show up on your calendar will be 9 a.m., trying to keep everything clear and consistent. But please note that this one here is 100 points. Because now at this point you've gone through, you've practiced, you've had an opportunity to ask questions. You want to make sure that you have learned the material. And notice that there is just one attempt, just like a test would be in class. So like we mentioned on the intro video, you want to make sure that you have a testing environment, that it's quiet, that it's free of distractions, that you have set aside enough time to complete those. Okay, so all of those things we want to make sure that, as you know, that we're prepared to take that assessment when the time comes. Okay, that assessment will not open up. If you try to tomorrow to click on the assessment, it's not going to be available to you. It doesn't become available until Thursday of the week, and that's really because I want you to take the time going through the process of doing the notes, the formative assessments, the coming to Zooms, before you try to do that summative assessment. That will hopefully give you the most of the benefit of the process that I'm trying to have you go through, and get the score that honestly shows what you have learned during the week.